goal isn't to live forever. The goal is to create something that will.
Welcome to Perspective, a podcast for wedding creators where we sit down, often with a special guest, and talk about our many years of experience in the wedding industry so that you can learn from us and grow your wedding business. Hi, I'm Simon.
And I'm Greg.
Together, we are Cinemate Films, two Scottish-based wedding filmmakers who love nothing more than drinking coffee and talking shop with others in the wedding industry. And we've teamed up with Photography Farm to bring you 6 special episodes of this podcast in anticipation of Thrive Brighton, happening on the 22nd and 23rd of October at the Leonardo Royal Hotel. This podcast is sponsored by With Jack and Pick Time, but I'll get on to that later in the show. Greg,
yes.
Good morning. Who are we talking to today?
We are talking to Anna from Ginger's Eyes. Hello, Anna.
Hello, Anna.
Hi, guys. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us. I think, is this the last of the Thrive speakers that we've spoken to?
This is the last one we're recording, yep.
I have to say, I've enjoyed every single conversation that we've had with every Thrive speaker. So I'm very jealous of everyone getting to go to Brighton. I must admit, so.
Yeah. Are you excited for Brighton?
I am. I've never been there, actually. So, yeah, I'm really excited. And I hope this conversation is not going to disappoint you either.
I don't.
This is the last one.
I don't think it will disappoint. I think we've saved the best to last. Anna. Yeah. For those out there who maybe haven't heard of you, do you want to introduce yourself? Who are you? What do you do?
Well, I'm a photographer, as probably everyone on this podcast, and I primarily do wedding photography, fashion photography. I'm also I have a brand for photographers as well that I creatively direct. And what else? Human being.
A human being, that's right. Just before we hit record, or before you showed up to Riverside, Greg and I were talking about your utility belt, because I actually didn't realize that you made a utility belt. But I've had experience with it in the field because Bernadetta Kopietz, I believe, has your belt and uses it. And I must admit, I saw it and I complimented her on it because it looks really cool. So I think you've got a good little product there. But tell us, let's just start with your utility belt. Where did that come from? What is it? How can people get their hands on it?
Yeah. Well, I think just like anything in what I do starts from necessity. So this little thing literally started from the fact that I was looking for something like that, for a belt or some kind of a pouch to wear at weddings, at let's say more high-end luxury events, that can also look cool and, not make me feel or look like I'm a fisherwoman, just standing on the bank of a river. So like something that like looks cool, but also is very utilitarian and useful, and compartmented. So it's easy to access and always have the essentials on set and at hand and so on. So basically I wanted to create it for myself, but then like my husband and I were just sitting at the dinner once, and I was telling him about this and he was like, well, okay, let's try and kind of create the product and then maybe put it out there and see if people like it and so on. So, it's exactly like 1 year since we launched it. It was in June.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite new. And we've, I think we are present now in about 40 plus countries. So like literally, it's skyrocketed because I think this is the product that everybody was kind of needed, but they didn't know they needed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're pretty happy. But it's a lot of work. It's never ending content creations, never ending brainstorming, creative direction and whatnot. So, I'm very happy with it. And I'm like, literally, it's kind of like, accessing another. So photography is one thing, right? Like if you imagine it as a room, and then this is like a completely different room that I have to access because it has nothing to do with the way my photography looks, even like the branding and the creative direction that I've imagined for the brand. It's a like completely different story. Okay. And I never photograph for it. For example, myself, I only work with other photographers. It's a cool creative challenge for me as a creative person, right? And it's never ending work. We are working on new products now and going to be launching them hopefully this year. Going to be testing them soon. So yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, very exciting.
That's like a long story short. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of product design. Probably I would have gone into that field if I didn't follow my creative. I'm not saying that's not creative. That's crazy. That's crazy talk because that is very, very creative. But if I didn't follow my creative or music roots, so I just want to stay on this topic. Like, so you created the belt for yourself. Like, what materials did you use? Like, what was that initial belt? Like, what did it look like compared to how you developed it for manufacture?
No, I didn't create the belt for myself. We started working on the product that we knew we're gonna be launching, for everyone. Well, the idea was that I needed the belt, right? So I was like, okay, let's create it and then let's see how it performs, if people love it and so on. So my main, let's say, how would I call it? Condition was that, it's not a real leather because I don't want to support that nowadays. And, in our world, we have so many amazing options that are very high quality, that are not real leather and don't harm the environment. So the belt is made out of 70 or 80. I'm not exactly sure. 70% apple skin.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's vegan leather. And it's very sturdy. It's very good quality. It's not a cheap product to make as let's say, manufacturing cost as well. And then we imagined it as the belt, and then you have compartments there. So there is a compartment for the phone and memory cards. There is compartment for batteries, camera batteries. There is compartment for flash. That's easy to just take in and then put back in, take out and then put back in. And then we have some ideas of how to kind of enhance it in future as well, and what other products we want to put out there too. So yeah.
So I think you said you don't shoot the photos for the branding and stuff for that business. You just take more of a creative director role. Is that right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Of course, I'm involved in all the decisions of how it looks and what is the next step and so on. But my role is highly it's just the creative stuff, because my husband is just everything that's not creative, all the Excels, all the production, emails, conversations, and so on. And I'm just creative. So yeah, it's a good division of responsibilities as well. I'm very, very lucky in that. Yeah.
And how do you find being the creative director and working with other photographers and hiring them and getting your vision across to them? How do you find that part of it?
Yeah. Well, I think it's super important to find the person who is going to fit into your vision. Because I love a lot of photographers, there are plenty of fashion photographers, for example, that I'm admire and that I'm fond of. But then I know that this person is going to create what I need for our brand. So I'm going to go to them and I'm going to ask them to work with us. And I think one of my biggest realizations during the past year, having a brand, is realizing how difficult it is to find people to work with, the right people to work with. A right videographer to create reels and to actually know how to edit well and to, they have to feel it, the right photographer, the right social media manager, and plenty of other people. It's just the most difficult thing.
But now I'm assuming you have all your team. They're all settled. Everything's running smoothly.
We have some people with who we work on an ongoing basis. Yes. But we're still constantly evolving and looking for other people. Like, for example, now I'm looking for a social media manager, and I can find a person who can do this. Because, like, let's be honest, most of the social media for brands are managed in a very, let's say, simple to mediocre way. So, and like when you have a very particular vision and you know what you need and what you want, like it's very difficult to find a person. Like I feel like sometimes it's even easier to just take someone without any knowledge and then teach them, and then they kind of evolve and grow with you and with your brand. But yeah, it's imagine how much time it is. And then what if this person just leaves you and then say, you know, goodbye, I'll work with someone else or have my own project. And then, yeah. So that's like, something that I've never thought about until we launched the brand, you know, like as a photographer, you don't really think about these things much.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I agree. Where can people find the spell? Where can they buy it?
Well, it's called Uncommon Sense, the brand. We are on Instagram. We are on website. Like there are all the links are there. I have it on my Instagram page, like in my bio. So yeah, just go check it out. It's also fun to just follow and watch what we come up with visually, I guess.
I was going to say, some of your imagery, your visuals for selling this product are pretty interesting. Maybe I should have picked one for show and tell just for shits and giggles, but yeah. So I'd recommend everyone out there to give it. Oh, we're not even following Greg. That's shocking. There you go. Click the follow button.
There we go. 1+1 follower. That was worth it.
Terrible.
So talking about like your photography work, doing the research for this, it was interesting because there's Ginger's Eyes is the website, and then there's Ginger, the Instagram account. So
it's a mess.
What's the reasoning there? Like, did you have that Instagram account and then you just thought, I'll turn it into a business profile? Or tell us a bit more about.
Yeah, I mean, it was just my personal account back then. And then I just started posting some photography work. And then everybody started to know me as Ginger. And I was like, there's no point to change the name right now. Moreover, it's a little spicier than Ginger does. So I guess it's fine.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say it's actually, I think it reflects me because I'm a creative chaos in life. So that's okay that I have like different names I go by.
Yeah. Let's get into your work then. Do you remember your first wedding? How long have you been shooting? Like, give us your origin story and how you ended up where you are now.
How do we define where I am now? That's a question.
I mean, yeah, that is true. Is there any point in time where something clicked for you and that motivated you to get into weddings or even photography, I suppose? Yeah.
My first wedding, I think, when was it? 2018. My first wedding, I think I shot like 4 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, and then 2019 I had like a couple weddings, 20 no. And so basically what I'm saying is that this season, I think it's like my 4th or 5th full season. Not counting the years when I had 1 or 2 weddings. So yeah, honestly, since I started working with couples, at first there was just couple sessions, naturally something simple. Less creative, just like more natural and so on. And then I think naturally just took me towards the wedding direction as well. So it's something that just naturally evolved. And then I've never been interested in fashion. And only like I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago, this interest started to pick up. And then also naturally evolved into the fact that I'm doing some brand editorials and work with bridal fashion brands and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did that shift come from?
Honestly, I don't know. It's just, it was so random. It was so random. I noticed that I started dressing up well. I was like, what's that?
Previously, you were just in sandals and a t-shirt.
Previously, it was just like, this feeling like when you look at your photos, 6, 7 years ago, 10 years ago, you're like, what the fuck am I wearing? You're just like, how could I even wear this? But then like, I was like, okay, so I'm interested in fashion. I started to, kind of follow the brands and the fashion shows and whatnot, and just like being interested in all this world. And then I think it like kind of naturally translated into my work as well, because I started to be very involved into what my characters wear, help the brands, for example, with some styling, or like whenever I was doing my personal projects, also like being involved in all those creative decisions. So not just like pushing the button or like coming up with an idea and saying, okay, like that's it, that's about it. No, I'm very, very involved in everything, including including with my wedding couples as well.
Yeah. So I'm wondering then, do you do many style shoots?
No, currently I don't. No.
Okay.
Before it was many more. Style shoots, you mean like wedding style shoots? Or in general?
Weddings.
Wedding. No.
Basically where you have an influence on what your person wears for a style that you want to put out into the world. Because I think a lot of people don't do style shoots because, and I count myself in this, I'm not really a fashion person. I don't know. I'm also a very white man. I am not I'm not clued up on styles for dresses, other than, the general shapes and all that kind of stuff. Do you have any advice for people like me who have trouble with thinking of style shoot ideas?
Yeah, of course.
Specifically, what someone should and shouldn't wear, for example. And I know this. We've gone on a kind of random. This is not in our show notes, by the way. This is just me going off script. So I'm intrigued.
Yeah, there is only one advice I can give, is to work with good professionals.
Okay.
That's all. Like, we don't have to be good at everything. And if you're not interested in fashion, then work with a cool fashion stylist who can do the job for you. And then you can just like, bounce ideas, like kind of like just express your general liking or disliking. But typically, if the person knows what they do, the result is going to be great. And then the same goes for, like when we work with florists. So when we work with makeup artists, we never do this ourselves, right? So we hire people, we work with people who are professionals. So yeah, of course, like if you want to put up the style shoot, just like gather the team of people you want to work with. And that's like the best thing you can do. Like, never try to do everything by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in terms of like, probably more so a couple shoot rather than a wedding, but say a couple shoot where the couple just come to you and go, we love your work, we love your style, we trust you, tell us what to do. Like, how much of a hands-on role do you take in like the planning and the styling of just a couple session?
Yeah, I've actually just released a masterclass on wedding creative direction where I say what kind of tools I use and what I do, what are the steps for preparing for a wedding with a couple. So it's never just, let's say, about styling, right? Naturally, I need to know like what people wear, and I would go on their Instagram and I would just like talk to them and so on and see like what kind of style they wear, what kind of is natural to them, right? And then I would base my suggestions on this, not just like on something that I like myself, right? Because everybody is different. Somebody is more vintage, somebody is more minimalistic, somebody is very contemporary, and so on. And then I think, and what I believe in is we have to ground our creative ideas in people's stories, okay, and in their personalities. So for that, we need to learn about that first. And that I do through questions, through questionnaires, through, phone conversations. I mean, like Zoom conversations and so on. And it's not only about the couple photo shoots. To be honest, I do very few of them nowadays. Like before, I think like maybe 3-4 years ago, I was having a few like per week even. Now it's very rare, couple session per se, but the wedding couples that book me, they always book the full experience, which is a few days, okay, of the wedding, like wedding weekend, let's say. And then we do a couple photo shoot within these days. We do welcome dinner. We do portraits during the wedding day, naturally, plus the getting ready, some creative bridal portraits, plus maybe there is a day after. So it goes like that. And then it's even easier because it's not like just the couple that you meet for a few hours. It's a couple that you spend a few days with. It's also, I feel like this kind of thing, like when you approach this creatively, and couples see it and they appreciate it and they actually just super excited to shoot with you because they know they're going to be creating something very special, very different. And this something is going to last them a lifetime, It like the whole wedding experience turns into a more magical, creative experience as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you're with your clients for so long, is that easier for you to get into their world? Almost becoming friends to a certain level with the goal of achieving like something that's like authentic to them, rather than something that just reflects our own creative needs and desires as photographers.
That's what I'm saying, that all the creative needs and desires, including like your own, have to be grounded in their story. And that's achievable only if you do the pre-work. So it's not like enough to walk into the room and start like talking to them in order to understand how you need to shoot. Like, of course, like we have to be psychologists in that way as well, and like be emotionally intelligent and understand where we can push more, where it's better to back up and just like let them be and whatnot. But it's all about the pre-work. Like that's when I understand what they are down for, what they're excited about, what are the opportunities to create. And I never put like my creative needs in front of people's needs. It's not, to me, being, let's say, a wedding photographer, I always say the first and foremost purpose is not purpose, how to call it, ability that we have to have is to observe, right?
Yep.
And then let's say if the couple is also creatively charged, I'm happy to go an extra mile and create something else for them. And like this is the kind of work I put out in the world, and this is the kind of work that kind of comes back to me. And now more and more I have couples that like in the first call, they say like, yes, we absolutely love your creative direction. We love what you're doing. So let's, like, we want to book you for that, for your vision, essentially, not just for the work, but for the vision as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of photographers, they say, oh, we like to get to know our couples and make sure the photographs reflect them. But one thing they hate, a lot of photographers, is when they come with a Pinterest board or a mood board. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you like if a couple brings that to you and has like that inspiration for you already?
I asked them to send me the mood boards they have.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we're going to be recreating the pictures from there, but I need to understand their vision. And then we can collaborate on the mood board together. Or like I can add my stuff in there, but I need to have a, let's say, starting point of where we begin, to work together. And the best, I feel like mood boards are great because it's a visual representation of what we do. And there is no other better way to educate the clients and educate ourselves than just like to see, essentially, because we're highly visual people and they're not. So it's nice that if, let's say, they took time and created a mood board, And if they didn't, then I can do it myself for them, and then we can collaborate on that. So it's always about like, I always say it's a collaboration. It's never just me doing things or them doing things. But in this collaboration, what birth is their desire to create and their excitement in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 And
I love
also
that.
regarding being friends, like I never, this is never my purpose or goal to be friends with my couples. No.
Sure.
But what I noticed in the last season, that I get a lot of brides that are like me, or like that we have a lot in common. Okay. Like even the energy or the way they, do things, or their creative vision and so on. And it can be different. Like it doesn't have to be exactly the same all the time. But like there is a lot in common, and that's when we click. And now, for example, I am in contact with a lot of them, and they're like, yeah, when you come to LA, please stay at our house, or like, let's shoot again together when we're back to Europe or whatnot, So it's like, it's just very natural. Like I never try to be friend. I'm a very introverted person. I have my 3 people that I talk to in life. So I don't need like a lot of friends, So, but what I'm saying is that, whenever these things kind of emerge, naturally, I'm very happy for that. And I'm honestly like truly looking forward to keeping those connections.
Yeah. Amazing. Is part of your questionnaire, this, I might be wrong in this, but do you mention quantum physics at some point? Did I read that is that something that you ask in your questionnaire?
Quantum physics? No, I don't mention.
There's something on your website that I came across, and it mentioned quantum physics. I was like, is that a humorous joke? Is that where? And I'm trying my hardest to find it on your website.
No, I don't think it's on my website. So I have a book that I created for the couples, right? Like basically the album, the wedding book. And on the first page, there is like a text that I wrote, and it's not about necessarily quantum physics. Well, it's part of quantum physics. It's about spooky action at a distance. Do you know this theory by?
Don't think so.
No? By Einstein? No, it's like when, they're still studying it. It's like when you, affect one, atom, even if they are million years apart, or like million like kilometers apart, the other atom is also affected. And this is like the real theory, like the quantum physics theory that they're studying, and they cannot like put a finger on it or how it works and so on, because we as human beings, we don't know much yet about the way this universe is created. So this is just something that I've introduced as a intro on my book, and that's it.
Yeah, okay.
It's just something that fascinates me. Also, Jim Jarmusch is talking about it a little bit in his movie Only Lovers Left Alive, which I highly recommend to everyone, like for aesthetical reasons and just the way it's shot.
I feel like that movie has been mentioned. Oh yes, Anna Sousa mentioned.
I've heard of it, but I've not watched it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Still not watched it yet. But you'd recommend it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Everyday poetry is a phrase that you've definitely used on your website. What does everyday poetry mean to you?
That's a good question. It's noticing the little things and romanticizing life from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, like all those little things that we have during the day that lift us up kind of and inspire us. But it's not even like that's not true. No, not inspire us. By noticing them, we inspire ourselves. That's how I would put it. It could be anything. It could be like, I don't know, the drops on a shower glass and then the light goes through them. Or you go to a supermarket, you listen to some classical music or whatnot, or your favorite song, and then just everything else just kind of takes a different, you look at everything differently, or you take a walk, or, you know, you're just driving and singing or whatever, just, you know, things like that.
Yeah. So it's like contemplation, I suppose, on life.
Yeah. There is no like rocket science behind it. It's just the little things. You know,
Okay.
it's the same like when you live in a long-term relationship with a person for, let's say, 10, 15 years, and then you kind of have to also notice on everyday basis, on like in everyday life, like what you admire about them, and kind of like amplify this, and then like your relationship also kind of, how do you call it, flourishes, you know, because you notice not the things that annoy you, of course, like we all have those, but like what the things that you admire about that person. And like year after year and year after year, like I feel like it's also difficult for a lot of people to do, because they focus more on negatives part of the day, part of the things, right? But I feel like this is the secret to life. This is the secret to human connection, is to notice what you admire and what kind of, just the little things.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier about keeping your photography sort of grounded in the couple's story. And obviously, like, the wedding industry is quite visually a noisy industry, and then the fashion industry as well. You're noticing all these sort of everyday poetry moments. How do you stay creatively grounded, like on a daily basis?
This, and then being interested in plenty of things. And finding time to do them. That's very important. So like watching movies, like taking a walk, going for a swim in the sea, in the ocean, traveling just for pleasure, wandering around the streets just by myself or with my film camera, you know, painting whenever I feel like painting, just like all these little things. And finding time for them, because it's we're all busy naturally. I have a few businesses that have to be run. Like if we want, we can just like be buried in all these kind of things from morning till evening, you know, and never find time for each other or for ourselves. But I feel like it's part of self-love to find the time for yourself.
Yeah.
That
sort of thing reminds me of like, you know, when people talking about the power of no, do you ever say no to any project because it doesn't align with you as a person or your beliefs? Because it would appear that you say yes to a lot of things, having all these brands. So where do you find time for all?
Yeah. So you know this movie, Yes Man?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I always say I'm a no woman.
Okay.
So yeah, I do say no to a lot of things that don't align. Of course, like it came through experience and through realizing that by saying yes, I'm gonna just harm myself in the long run. So yeah, like certain weddings, let's say wedding projects that come, you know, people inquire, or most of the time workshops, I say no. Because,
oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, because I've in the past couple of years, I've been to many workshops, and I'm gonna sound like a snob now, but and I've done my own workshops before. Okay, like it's called Ephemeral. We might actually rebirth it is the correct word. Rebirth it this year, because I made a pause for 2 years because I wasn't feeling inspired anymore. So I thought like, okay, I'm gonna, even this is a no, you know, like saying a no to a thing that works, because we were sailing out in 6 hours. So saying, like, as I said, like it came through experience, because I've been to so many workshops, and in so many workshops, you won't believe, I was giving my own clothes to models because the styling was very bad. In so many workshops, there was no like proper projector to showcase, like to do the presentation, to showcase your work. And this is like just a basic thing that has to be done at a photography workshop. So like, and as I said, I'm going to sound like a snob, but, you just have to kind of agree to what, lives up to your standard of working, at least.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So on workshops then,
on workshops, on wedding, like let's say on work projects as well, depending on the inquiry, depending on what they need. Sometimes I realize that I'm not the right person to do the job as well. So I would just honestly say like, hey, this is not for me. And that's it. Not because, even not because that I don't like it, but because probably I feel incompetent to do it, you know? So yeah, I think it's super important skill to say no.
Yeah. So why say yes to thrive at this occasion?
Why say yes to thrive?
Yeah. Well, what is that about?
What does this question imply? I'm not going to have a nice projector?
No, let's not mention what happened at Thrive Edinburgh with the projecting system.
Really?
Right. There was just a little technical fault.
The projector was almost too good. That was the issue.
Imagine a huge room with like screens all around. And so to get your speech up on the screen, it had to be in a very specific format. We'll say that. But I don't think you'll have the same problem.
Is it going to be the same this year?
No, a different place.
Different location.
Different place. So you're okay. You're safe.
Okay, good.
Yeah, what about the Thrive event makes you want to attend and speak at it?
I think it's very interesting for me because it's also a different audience. It's UK in the first place. Most of the biggest conferences that I spoke at are inside Europe, right? And then I don't know, just felt good, felt right.
Hey, I'm Ashley from With Jack. I'm one of the sponsors of the Perspective podcast. With Jack helps to keep photographers in business by supporting them financially and legally if they have problems with a client or they make a mistake in their work. We've all had that fear of our CF card or our hard drive failing and losing important photos. You can find out more at withjack.co.uk. Head over there and find out how we can help you be a confident creative.
Sorry, Lisa. Don't get us into trouble there. So let's stick on Thrive just for a little minute. What are people going to be learning from you? What's your talk about? And then after that, tell us about your day 2.
So about day 2, don't know yet. We haven't gone into detail on that. I think it's a little too early now. We'll pick it up probably in August. Regarding the first day and the presentation, it's so funny. I change my presentations all the time. Like I never come with the same presentation because it feels like even if I spoke 2 months ago, it already feels old and I need to kind of throw in some other things because I've changed or like my photography changed in some sense. So it's gonna be naturally more about all about the creative freedom, the creative processes. I'm going to touch upon, I think, the art direction or on taking the idea on like going from the idea to its fulfillment and to actual like realization. Working, like I'll touch upon working with the couples as well. And just, tapping into your creative freedom, I would say.
That's cool.
Yeah, there will be I just want to say that there will be, I always like to give, let's say, part of it will be practical, like what you can actually use in order to work with the couples, in order to, put together your projects, your tutorials and whatnot. And then part of it is more about like inspirational.
Yeah, that's cool. Obviously you do mentoring on the side, right?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. That's fine. Why not anymore? I'm intrigued.
Yeah, because like I was doing it up until this year, and then I released the workshop, the masterclass, and I'm kind of cutting the mentorings now.
All right. Okay. Okay. That right. I see. Where can people find your masterclass?
It's on my website. It's actually a real wedding documentary, like how I shoot a real wedding.
Oh, okay.
Done by my super talented videographer friend who created like a real like screening worth movie. It's very beautiful, very engaging. And then just a couple of more videos. One of them has to be released August 1st. It's the post-production of how I edit and curate the gallery, and like what is the thought process, why I choose this image and not that image, because I feel I know that curation is actually a huge part of our game, because it's something like basically is how you present your work, how you give your work to the clients, the experience they have with the gallery, and so on. How many images they include, and why I don't include 1,000 images. And then the pre-production, as I mentioned before, is like the tools that I use to prepare for the wedding with the couple and by myself as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like full circle. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I'm intrigued with having done mentoring and having done many talks, and I'm sure you've spoken to many, many photographers. What do you think that so many of us out there struggle with?
Good question. Well, naturally, the mentorings are very different from photographer to photographer, right? Like in the requests that people come to them with. But what was the most frequent request that people came to me, or like the frequent issue, is that they are afraid to go beyond the safe shots and beyond what's considered standard and normal in the wedding industry. So even if you want to, like, it doesn't have to be like, let's say, I always say like your shoots or your weddings don't have to be crazy creative, like it's also very easy to, like in strive for creativity, it's also very easy to, kind of cross this border between creative and tasteful and tacky, you know what I mean? Or like something that's like overly done. So it's super important to kind of keep an eye on that. But yeah, this is like the most frequent issue. And I feel like it's also highly psychological, is that like you're used to your patterns. You're used to do the same thing over and over again. You walk into the wedding and you're like, okay, I'm going to put the dress here. I'm looking for the hanger and whatnot, and it's just like, when you've done it for so long and for many years, and like, this is something that your clients pay for. And these are the clients you get, right? That kind of want this. It's very difficult to kind of like, okay, say that you're changing your process and you're trying something new, and you now will establish a different workflow with your couples and so on, because you're afraid that you're not going to have the bookings. You're afraid that people are not going to want you anymore because you're doing something differently now. So yeah, I feel like this is like something that people come to me with. Yeah.
I can understand that fear. I remember, obviously, we've been shooting for 15 years now, but I remember maybe five or 6 years into it, I remember going to my very first workshop, and something just clicked where I was like, oh, why have I been going to every wedding and doing the exact same thing? I'd shoot with a slider and do the exact same shot, and I had to get these shots. And then, the freedom that came about learning that I could play with my shots at a wedding. But then the kind of the thing that stopped me from doing that was that fear that you just talked about, the fear of losing bookings. Because that is a real thing when your livelihood is on the line. Like
you think that your current and future bookings are expecting the same work from you, but they are to some extent, but they also want the best version of you. So if you're incrementally improving, they're going to love that work.
But
they should love that work.
But improving
anyway.
to who, Greg? Improving to me? That's fine. But is it going to be seen as improving for them? That's where I was really struggling.
But the thing is, like, when your work changes, your clientele changes as well. It's not going to be the same people who were booking you for the hanging dress shot. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be different people. And of course, like, this shift between, or like this time is scary. Like, when, there might be nothing for some time, right? Like, so those people are not booking you because your work has changed and your work hasn't reached to the right audience yet, this new audience. So this little gap is always very scary. And this is somewhere where people kind of turn back real quickly because they realize, like, hey, I don't have many inquiries now, not as before, and so on. It's the same thing as when you raise the prices. Like, people raise the prices and then they get ghosted, or they don't get enough booking, like as many bookings as before, and then they lower prices again. But the thing is, you don't have to get as many bookings with a higher price, you know, as you were getting with a low price. You know what I mean? So like, people who shoot weddings for 25K, 30K, they shoot, I don't know, 7 weddings per year, you know, like 10 weddings per year max. They don't need to shoot 25 and 30, you know? So there's just like like, you have to set your mind on a different, like, change your mindset about this as well.
Yeah. When someone's been through mentoring with you, can you think of any examples of big changes that they've made to either to their work or to their business? What sort of changes have they gone through when working with you?
I still get messages from a lot of people saying that they still remember, like, some phrase that I said, or like the workflow has changed, or the creative, like, let's say, or somebody else wrote to me that, hey, this person was at mentoring with you and they have changed their visuals drastically after that. So I still get those messages and I'm very grateful for that. But the thing is, like, it's also super important to understand that the change is a process. It's never like, it never comes from one day to another, right? And you learn the information, it kind of settles within you, then you start using it little by little, then you change things, then like this whole, but like the whole, you know, it's like snowball, right? But what's super important, I feel, in mentoring and choosing the right person to mentor with is that they would start that process of no return, you know, like of this ball going down, or no up. Let's use that metaphor. So yeah, I would say for me, the most important thing that I could teach or show is that it's super important, first of all, to connect to ourselves and to create from an honest place that reflects ourselves, you know, because as you said, like in the wedding industry, it's all very busy. Like, one person does this, the other person does that. Then there is like the overall trend, and it's very important to kind of know them and to be aware of them, but still, like, not to completely surrender, I would say, to still be in touch with yourself.
Yeah. Oh, correct. The TV went. Let's move away from other people's troubles and businesses, and let's focus on yours. I'm intrigued. How many bookings make you feel comfortable in your business? And then, you know, break down your pricing and your packaging and how you've gone about the money side of business.
I've missed the first part of the question. Could you repeat, please?
Sure. It's basically like, how many bookings make you comfortable in business, and then how did you implement all the decisions for pricing and packaging and everything involved in that?
I do, like, this year I have 13 weddings. So like somewhere between 10 and 15 is comfortable for me. Yeah.
Okay. And what is and what do those events look like? Are they multi-day?
Yeah. Yeah, most of them are multi-day. Most of them are not in my area where I live. So it's traveling. And then, as you figured, besides weddings, I also do other things. Like I also take care of Uncommon Sense. I do personal projects. I work with brands as well. So it's not just, let's say, 12 weddings per year or like 15. It's much more. I'm not just, let's say, I'm not the photographer who only does weddings. That's why I don't like to to say that I'm a wedding photographer. I'm a photographer.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I am going to stick with the wedding side of business though, just for the purpose of this podcast. Obviously. So when it came to pricing, how like what is your starting price and how did you break down your packages and what do you offer?
Oh wow. Okay. Do we want to go so in detail?
If you're comfortable.
Yeah. So the starting, let's say, I would say like this, the average or like what the couples spend with me on average is somewhere from 10 to 15K.
Yep.
Okay. And this includes, naturally it depends on like where on this scale they are, but like it's usually either a full day coverage, 10 hours of the wedding day, or it's a few days, which is usually 2-3 days max. The day before includes like we do like a little session together. Then there's a welcome dinner that I cover usually for like an hour or so. Then the wedding day, and then if they need, it's the third day. But the third day is rare. Usually it's like the days before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier that you don't deliver thousands of images. So what is your sort of typical delivery? Is it a few hundred images, online gallery?
Yeah.
Any albums as standard?
No, I don't include albums. Albums are separately. So for images, it's roughly 40-50 images per hour of shoot. Okay. So if I'm booked for a 10-hour wedding, it's roughly 500 images, 5 to 6. And then the shoot, the couple shoot, and so on.
Okay. And so is that just like a starting price, and then can couples add on whatever they want, or is that just like a?
So this is a typical like experience price. Okay. Or for like from 10 to 15, and then naturally, if this is like for standard, let's say 2 to 3 days max celebration. But then if more hours are needed, if the second photographer is needed, if they want the album and so on, so this can be like as add-ons.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm just glancing through your website. There's no mention of pricing at all. What's your psychology there? Unless I've not seen it.
No, I don't mention the price. So
no.
The thing is, like, whenever people inquire with me, that's when I share the tentative pricing in the guide, and then we have a call and we discuss in more detail on what they need and so on, and what I can offer to them.
Do you find with doing that there's a lot of couples that you need to connect with, but then they just say, sorry, the pricing doesn't match our expectations, and like, is there a lot of back and forth there, or are you just getting ghosted sometimes, or by the time they found you and your work, are they confident that they want to go with you?
It really depends. Nobody gets ghosted. No. Also, I have a lot of photographers sending me emails pretending that they're couples, and that's like the whole.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And then like with some of them, I think there were like a couple of cases when I really knew that it's not a real couple, and then I would like and I would say like, okay, let's have a call. I can like guide you through my wedding, blah, blah, blah. And then they would be like, no, but we want to see this and we want to, I was like, okay, can you please just like give me a break? So yeah, what I wanted to say is it depends. So there are some couples that are, let's say when we have a call, they are 100% sure that this is like the photographer they found. They want me, like it's in the air. They, super excited to work with me and so on. There are naturally couples who are digging through more photographers and then they're, choosing and like kind of, you see that they're hesitant and whatnot. And then it depends like if we end up working together or no. And then a lot of the work I also get from the wedding planners, because I love working with the wedding planners simply because they know, like let's say they get a couple, they find out about their needs, and they recommend them to photographers that will fulfill their vision. So that's also pretty cool. And I have really good relationship with a lot of wedding planners that are also like. I love their work. I love what they do, and I'm always excited to work with them.
Yeah, that's exciting. Who have been your wedding? I'm sounding like an owl there. who have been your favorite planners to work with?
Oh, there are plenty. I can, Let me see. So there are a few local planners, but then there are, I don't know, do you know the planners or?
No.
Not really.
But I always I love being introduced to new names, checking out their work.
Yeah, I can send, I can share the list later on, because there are plenty. It's not only, let's say, Barcelona where I'm based or Spain. It's also Italy. It's also France. It's also some other areas, Greece. And there are also like a few planners, on my list that I would love to work with as well. So this is also something that, there are plenty.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool.
Do you have any advice for any photographers that are sitting there going, I really want to be working with X planner? Mm-hmm. And obviously you mentioned there's some that you would like to work with.
Yeah.
How can they organically develop that and make it happen? Is there any advice there?
I think only writing to them. I know that they get a lot of messages and sometimes they don't answer, and that's their right, and it's totally fine. Mm-hmm. And I support them in this because I guess they have like dozens of emails from photographers on daily basis. They're a really good planner. But yeah, like just being personal in your communication with them, I guess. Not just like sending an automatic email like you would send to 10 other planners, but actually researching them. I do it all the time. Like if there is a planner that I really like to work with, I would study their work. I would first of all see if, our styles match, and the type of events that they're doing, if I would be of help and if I could kind of be naturally integrated in there, because there are certain events, and I'm not talking about like low quality, I'm talking about high quality events that I don't see myself in, for example. Mm-hmm. And it's also very important to realize,
Yeah.
Because the type of imagery that those kind of couples wait from their vendors or the wedding planners is just not the type of images I create.
We're going to interrupt this podcast to bring you an advertisement for PickTime, our buddies at PickTime. We love PickTime. If you want to elevate your business, PickTime's maybe the way to do it.
It's an online gallery delivery service.
It's a really good looking one, which is initially how we got into the service. It just looks better than all the other kind of platforms that we personally use.
Yeah, we've over time got to know the owners, got to know the people behind it. Mm-hmm. Lovely people, great support system there as well.
There's just so many tools at your fingertips with PickTime. But the marketing and the blogs and the slideshow features.
Yeah, there's so much more than just a gallery delivery service. You've got all those things that Simon was talking about. You can create your own blog from it. You can create slideshows. One new feature that I really love is the vendor network. It's where you can use AI to curate a gallery for a specific supplier. So you could use AI to gather all the photos of the flowers and send them to the florist, and they would have that gallery specific just for them.
It's kind of a mind-blowing feature.
Yeah.
And we might as well be taking advantage of AI before the uprising and it starts taking advantage of us. So let's just all bear that in mind.
Yeah, and not to mention the built-in store, and that way you can just make more money while also having a nice, aesthetically pretty gallery.
Yeah. And if you want to sign up today, you can get a free month if you use Perspective at checkout.
Yeah.
So if you want to test it out for free for a month, go for it.
Take your business to the next level with Pick Time.
I will admit, I think it was the vendor table that I could be wrong in this, but they had a planner on. In fact, it might have been something else. And they were talking about pet peeves of theirs as planners. And one was sending them gifts out the blue. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't send them gifts out the blue. They don't know who you are. And it's obvious that you just want to work with them because of a certain tier of client, or that's the perception anyway. So just be aware, be genuine in your approach.
Send me gifts. I love gifts.
Send Greg the gifts. Yeah, that's cool. Where are we?
With the vendor planners.
Yeah, let's talk about that style of wedding that you like to shoot, and the kind of images that you create. And we have a show and tell section, and we will have a look at some of the images that I've picked out, just because I want to hear the backstory or your thought behind them, but just a general kind of approach, a general eye on the images that you create.
A general type of events.
Events and images. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Regarding the events, personal, high end, and artistically driven. Okay, creatively driven.
Perfect.
And then, so the style, like to me, I always say the style doesn't really matter as long as it's tasteful. So it could be a Renaissance wedding. It could be minimalist wedding. It could be by the seaside, ethereal, ephemeral kind of wedding, like the as it looks and so on. So I always say that I thrive on diversity. I love creating different work and the work that feels truly personal to each and every couple and celebration. So that's something that I find exciting in my work, because I feel like if I was doing the events that would look one like another, I would be very burnt out and kind of unmotivated. And the images basically also it's probably not shy to say good things about your images, but if you're asking,
I am.
I would say my images are pretty, they have artistic quality. They're fashion driven. They are, how would I call it? They're polished and well curated, and I feel that they display the personalities and the emotional states of the people I photograph, which is important to me.
Yeah. What about your images say that?
What about my images say that?
Yeah. Like what are the things visually that you like to pull on to achieve that goal?
Which exactly? The last one that I've mentioned.
Yeah. Or is it something that, because I think it's hard to talk about the creative process, especially when you have a question like that that's like kind of almost dissecting it. When you've kind of been doing it for so long, the thought process behind the visual kind of you don't think about it in the same way as someone asking you how to define it. So maybe it's just that is the work that comes out naturally from you.
I think most of the things that I've mentioned come out naturally, besides being polished and curated, because it's the skill that we learn, or I learned at least. But all the other things are pretty natural, like the artistic quality or the the personalities. Personalities. Yes, it's as I mentioned before, it's a lot of pre-production, right? Of getting to know your clients, of feeling them out on the day of, and of knowing where you can go, where you cannot, what you can ask them to do, where you cannot. So this kind of things, and very intuitional. And then the rest of the things, like a little, like even I always compare it to escapism, like in my speeches, I always say it's about like escapism, and kind of like magical realism. It's just something that comes naturally to me, at least at this point in life.
You've done a lot of pre-production, and you've got to know the couple and their story, the plan for the day, got your mood boards and everything. How much then on the day is just impromptu documenting, or how much is like preconceived and then planned out in terms of like posing and composition and stuff?
It depends on from shoot to shoot, right? Like from project to project. But I would say planning, like sometimes honestly, like sometimes planning is 70%, 80%, and sometimes in spontaneity 20, and sometimes spontaneity 30, and planning. And sometimes spontaneity is 70 and planning is 30. Like sometimes things don't go as planned. I think what I really what I'm good at, to be honest, is going with the flow and understanding like where. Like understanding on the day off or while I'm shooting, like it's kind of like intuition, like kind of creative intuition of what I have to do right now. Should I stick to a plan, or that it doesn't work, or, all those compositions in my head that I prepared, like they kind of are not working right now because like the room looks completely different, for example, than I've seen it before, and planned my composition in it. And like things like that.
Yeah. It's sorry. In case you don't think I'm always having eye contact, it's because I'm looking through your work while you're speaking, and I feel what you're saying is actually connecting on a visual level. I feel like there's a lot going on at these events, and I think you do an amazing job of capturing vibe as well as the portraits, but also the textures of a wedding. I love when you just shoot like a wallpaper, for example. Just kind of sets a tone for your gallery. And I'm wondering, so I'm looking through your what have you named this actually? Is this an editorial?
Is it a website or Instagram?
It's your website. It's essentially a blog.
Which one?
The Exquisite Indian American Wedding in Barcelona. For example, I've gone through many of them, but this is just the one I'm on right now. And there's loads of different types of images, textures, shadows, details, motion blur shots, almost behind the scenes esque, like you have your groom and bride, and the groom's got a video camera and you're shooting them together. There's just so many images, as well as the colors, and some of these images look like you could print them large for like an art exhibition. Others are like pure documentary, so there's quite a lot going on. Where is your mind in all these moments in an actual wedding?
So I'm going to tell you this, that everything besides documentary, okay, no, not everything, but like the artistic artistically driven images, artistic quality of the images is natural to me. It's based on the fact that I'm an art lover. I go to museums. I would go every day of my life, but like everywhere I travel, I go to museums. It's like I spend there days, hours. And I constantly listen lectures on art. I paint. I do different things. So this is something that, and this has been going on since childhood. Okay. And what I had to learn to do is to actually document. The documentary, which comes easier to most people, right? Because it's just something that you see and you shoot. This was the most difficult for me to learn because I'm always in my own world. And to see the world that's happening in front of my eyes, like for its reality, it's something that kind of, was challenging. But nowadays, I balance it out like together, So in some weddings, it's more documentary. In some weddings, it's more artistic. So it depends on the couple. It depends on the assignment. It depends what they expect from me. It depends how I feel on the day off as well. And like what's their overall energy. So I would say that's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to ask, who are Anchor Prod?
Have
you worked with them before?
They're video guys, very talented.
Yeah. Cool. How is working with other video teams? Do you work quite well, or
amazing?
Do you have any advice for those? Yeah.
Do
you have any other? Do you have advice for those who maybe have the mindset of, oh no, there's going to be a video person?
No way, no. I love videographers, and I love collaborating with them naturally. Before, when I was starting out, there were like videographers that would, let's say, our visions would clash, and just we would not direct even couple in the same way, which is now not happening. It's most of the time like a good balance, and people who choose us, then they kind of go in the same creative direction with the photographer and videographer, so it's more conscious. But no, I feel like being the team from the first minute you meet each other on set is very important. And then like anything that's not okay, or that you, let's say, if there is something that you don't like, also open communication. There were videographers to who I was telling sometimes like, hey, you stepped right in front of me. This is not like okay to do, or like just be more mindful, or this and that. So it's like it's important to communicate right there as well. Because eventually you're doing it for the same, for like the same purpose, the same project.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your love of art, like as you just said, they are in all forms, whether it's painting or consuming movies or going to galleries, is very clear. Where we jumped straight into your photography work for weddings and fashion, but where did your love of photography start? Like before weddings?
I think it was just like nothing too special about it, just like traveling and taking photos. And then I remember when I was a child, I'm Russian, so I grew up in Russia, and we were always with the girls, we were always like taking the those digital automatic cameras and like putting up creative shoots together, and just like having fun. I feel like this is exactly what I'm doing now, just I'm paid for it. And can make a living. Yeah. It's kind of like the childhood hobby that's turned into a real profession, which is really cool to realize too, that you're still like in this playground of having fun and creating and so on, but doing it consciously, mindfully, and on a high level.
Does that high level intimidate at all, or are you just so used to creating the art and it just happens for you?
Intimidate me?
Yeah.
Oh no, nothing intimidates me.
Very nice.
No, it doesn't intimidate. Good. I think the more challenge it is, the more interesting. And like for me now, working with brands is even higher level than weddings, or like closing myself in a empty studio with just white cyclorama and creating worlds out of it. This is a challenge of highest level that I'm currently learning, for example. And it doesn't. It's interesting. It's interesting where else I could go.
Yeah. Well, let's stick on that. Like, what did you feel that was a weakness that you needed to work on? Yeah. And how did you go about kind of first seeing that was a weakness, and then secondly, how did you approach that problem for you?
Because first of all, I felt the weakness was working with the light in general, artificial light, most definitely. Let's face it, most of the wedding photographers don't know how to work with the light. Not even natural. So there was something for me that I was like, okay, I'm like, when I was, started to be interested in fashion, I was like, okay, I've shot so much on the streets. I've shot so much in like places with natural light and so on. So what happens if I go into the studio and start learning the artificial light? So I took a few master classes from other photographers. I went like to different countries to do those master classes from fashion photographers I admire. And then just like creating something on my own. But what taught me the most in fashion world is that it's always a team. It's never just you. So like when we do a fashion editorial in the studio, there is always a person responsible for styling. There is a person responsible for lights. They're called gaffers, right? There is a person responsible naturally for makeup, for set design, production person who gathers everyone together. So it's like this is what like ultimately the high level work that you're part of, right? And then of course, like you as a photographer, you as a creative, like in my case, I also art direct a lot of my shoots. So I have contact with each and every person on set in the sense of like, okay, now what we're doing, like what kind of set is going to be right now, what kind of lighting we're putting together. But it's still like that person that is responsible for light is going to take the lamp or take the spotlight and put it in the right place, Yeah.
And how has it been? Has it been your goal to reach out to gaffers or electricians, set designers, or have you been kind of in the same way as they've been grabbed to work on this project? You've been grabbed, and you've just been in the same group?
It depends on the project. If it's my project, naturally, like I talk with the production manager and then we gather everyone together. If it's like some, let's say, brand project, then I'm being taken as a part of the team. So it depends. And also, I feel like the fashion work also taught me to curate my wedding work much better. So I went to that fashion workshop, I think it was like a year and a half ago in Berlin. And I was talking to this photographer who shot for Dolce & Gabbana, like for Balenciaga, for all the famous brands. And the thing is like, out of, 100 images of one look, they choose 2. Okay? So how about that? And in weddings, like out of 100 images, some photographers will choose 60.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there is no need, and this was like a huge revelation and huge, like kind of different mindset turn for me, like to realize that I don't need the same photo of the same thing, or like if the bride looks like there and then she looks there, I don't need 2 photos of this, I can just choose one that's like the best. In my perspective again. And why in my perspective? Because they are paying me for my vision. I don't want them to do this extra work of choosing out of 5 same images, which image they like the most.
Yeah. Something that's been coming up quite a bit recently, and I think you've maybe mentioned it, is being a creative director at a wedding. So like, instead of just calling yourself a photographer at a wedding or whatever, some people are referring to themselves as creative directors at weddings. What does that actually mean to you?
It means offering my vision to the couples based on their story, and offering, let's say, coming up with different creative ideas, whether it's about their pre-wedding session, whether it's about their outfits for this session, whether it's about what they're going to be doing, or the bridal morning, or the group shots, and whatnot, like throughout the wedding day. So A, it's pre-work with them, and B, it's like how you act on the day as well. As I said, like, I don't want to, like, I realized it quite early on. I don't want to be a photographer who gets into a wedding and starts looking for a hanger, to hang the dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. We all have done it at some point, I bet.
For sure. Me too. Yeah. I mean, it's not like I'm, of course we've all done this and it's fine. It's just, it's about realizing like, hey, you can do so much more than that.
Yeah. It's almost like it's the bare minimum is to create all these shots. And I feel like sometimes it's from that shot list mentality. Like, oh, I gotta get a shot of the dress. I gotta do this and I have to do this. I'm assuming you do not have that approach of a shot list, or maybe you do as someone who has that director approach at a wedding.
No, I don't have the short list, let's say from wedding to wedding, standard short list. I don't have naturally, or not on paper, not in my mind. But when I prepare for each and every wedding, like I know all the puzzles, right? I know where it's going to be, what time of the day, what are they wearing? Always, I know that. What are the, let's say, decorations, vision for the wedding and so on. So I can play with this. I can prepare myself. I can like even sketch the ideas or write them down or like think of where I'm going to compose the couple and so on. So it's like, it's a lot of brainstorming. It's a lot of work, So that's why 15 projects feel good per year.
Yes, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Especially with all the travel. It must get, I mean, do you ever find yourself getting overwhelmed? And do you curate everything? Do you edit everything? Or do you use any particular software to help?
I do everything. Yeah.
Okay. And how many images do you take and then, compare that to how many you deliver to a client? Because I think a lot of people, one, they do overshoot. We're famous for that, overshooting. But then, like how many images gets delivered is, I think, a huge struggle for many people, because I think the idea is they feel like they want to give more, but I think in this regards, less is actually more for a client experience and everything.
Yeah.
Gallery wise. So,
well, as I said, 50 images per hour, roughly. But that's the thing. Like the more images you deliver, the more average the gallery looks. And the less images, the more your diamonds kind of stand out. Okay? And I feel like, that's what I say all the time as well, like in the mentorings, that every photographer, whether good or bad, they take bad frames or bad shots. But the difference between good photographer and bad photographer is that the good photographer can identify the bad shots and not include them or never show them to the world. Okay. So that's essentially the art of curation, that that this frame is shit and you just leave it there sitting on your computer forever. And you don't need to you focus on your, as I said, on your diamonds and then deliver them naturally. Like not every photo will be a masterpiece in the gallery of 500 images, but it can be a part of consciously curated narrative that would, amplify the impression from the gallery. and make them feel as if they're watching some kind of a movie or reading a book about their day. And everything is cohesive and beautifully put together. And also, I think I just wanted to say that the most important thing that people, like a lot of us don't realize, that people want the ultimate, like, let's say, what is the ultimate purpose of photography? Like when people hire us.
Jesus, I'm going to assume that depends on the client, but I'm intrigued what you're going to tell me.
Tell me, what's your thought?
Preservation? To document, to
Yeah, but what's behind that?
I really did. What's behind what?
What's behind the preservation? What's like when you look at the photos? What do you want to see?
The people who are no longer there.
I'll go with they want to see their self looking their best.
Yes,
that's my guess.
Everybody wants to see themselves looking beautiful. Okay. And even when you're 80 years old and you look back at your photographs, you want to see yourself looking like when you were 30 or 20 or 40, like at your best. And that's what a lot of us don't realize. And that's when like we sometimes include photos of like people, with the weird faces and, like certain things that don't look good on us or our worst angles, like although photographer thinks like, okay, this is like emotional photo, like, emotionally charged photo. The bride is laughing with her, mouth open as if it's like the gates of the Babylon, but like what we don't realize, like she's not going to like herself in that photo, most probably, So it's important to also see people from that perspective. Like, hey, if I was the bride, would I like this photo of myself? And if you think no, just don't include it. Like include more flattering angles, more flattering photos and so on. And this is one of the things that I ask my couples all the time. Like, what is it about yourself that you don't love? Because everybody has things that, they're self-conscious about. And it's important to learn about them in order to like, if I don't like my nose, I don't want every photo from my wedding with my profile, You know what I mean? So things like that. Yeah. Like we have to be very mindful of these things.
Okay. Yeah. I might not have said that.
I think as photographers and filmmakers, us in particular anyway, I can only speak for us, but we like to think, our films are to give visual legacies of the people at the wedding and so they can see their grandpa in 30 years' time. But ultimately, when somebody looks through a gallery, they usually, and the first thing they look at it, they usually scroll through to see their self.
Yes, exactly.
And they're like, where am I? Where am I? Where am I?
Yes.
Obviously, if they're the main client, they're in it a lot. But in 20 years' time, when they look at the gallery, then it comes to the legacy, I think.
Because we're selfish animals. And the thing is, like, we do not book a photographer for our wedding thinking that in 50 years, our children will look at those photos. Of course, like this idea is there naturally, but the primary purpose of booking the photographer or videographer, exactly that one, is that that they're going to deliver a beautiful result to you now in the present moment. You know what I mean? That you're going to enjoy these photos now, and you're going to enjoy how beautiful and like brilliant and vibrant you are and like full of life and so on in these photos.
Fair enough. All right. I mean, your images did a great job of that. Especially the movement pictures. You use motion blur quite sparingly sometimes, but even when a couple are walking towards you or away, there's always like a smile. It always looks good. And I find that's, quite a hard thing, especially for us as a video people, like when that moment is taken, when does the mouth look its best? I actually struggle with this quite a lot. Because the amount of, like, obviously for video, we shoot 25 frames a second for documentary things like speeches. And you'd be incredibly amazed by how many of those frames just don't look good if you pause on them. Just because of the shapes of the mouth and expressions and whatever. But yeah, do you have any advice for people who are getting the wrong timing of moments?
Yeah, for photos or videos?
For photos.
Honestly, I think like if there are certain emotionally charged moments, and they're happening once, like for example during the wedding day when the couple is coming out like down the aisle and this and that, I would shoot even if you're not like very sure or confident, I would even shoot like a continuous shutter, so that you get as many shots as possible, as many, let's say, little tiny facial expressions and so on that you can use afterwards. But other than that,
I'll give you a specific point then. Let's keep it to the speeches. Someone's giving a speech and you want to document them. You're giving a speech. What are you waiting for? Like, are you waiting for, obviously, the high moments of laughter and reactions? But if you're wanting to document someone actually giving the speech, are you waiting for the moment after they said something? Are you trying to guess when they're going to say something, so you're capturing that moment of almost anticipation, I suppose? Like, or do you even know? Have you even thought about it in this way?
Yeah, I think what I wait for or look for is the tiny glances that they give to those people they speak about, or like the little smiles, in between what they say. Or when they're about to say something and they look at their paper and they're like, it's going to be funny or whatever. Yeah. For those things. Yeah. Not for, I typically try to avoid pictures of when they're with their mouth open saying something,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Because I know a lot of people out there struggle with that, including myself. But that's only because I'm never taking pictures. I've just always thought about it. Yeah. The shape of mouths.
I feel like though on video, most of the things are like easier because it's like it's a live picture. It's people. Yeah, they react, they laugh, they this and that. Like there's no half smiles, there's no half laughters. It's all there. And I feel like it's from that standpoint, of course, like in general, video material is much harder to work with. That's like no, absolutely, what do I want to say? Like no concern about that, right? But as the video itself, I feel like you can capture so much more and so much more brightness and vividness, right?
I would tend to agree. There's other than the time it takes to tell, like you've only got a certain amount of time to explore emotions, but I do think there is, when you're documenting something, you are going to get the before the moment happens, the peak of the moment, and then the end. And I think that kind of arc can be quite powerful. Now, depending on what you deliver as filmmakers, like we have moved away from the 15 to 20 minute film where I could probably explore some of those emotions a bit more. Now down to 5 to 10, 6 to 10. There's a lot less time to explore those moments or to give pause for things. But you're right, that is easier. Anyway, should we go into show and tell?
Let's do it.
We've talked about these images, and I feel like I've looked at so many while we've been talking, but
Let's talk about some images.
Let's talk about some of these images. So this one right off the bat, I thought, oh, this is rather interesting. It's a waffle with a ring in it, or two rings, but it's out of focus and it's on film. And actually, we haven't even talked about the fact that you do shoot film in some of your, is it all of your weddings? Some of your weddings?
No, yes, yeah.
Yeah. We've not even touched on that. But I want to hear your thought process on this image and why you posted this. What does it say to you? Was this an accident? Like everything. Tell me about it.
Where do you think this wedding was?
Where do I think that somewhere?
Gotta be Belgium, surely. A Belgian waffle. It's gotta be.
That's a very American.
Paris.
Yeah.
Paris,
So
Parisian, yeah.
Paris.
They're famous.
Paris.
Yeah, they're famous for these waffles as well.
Okay.
And basically, what it was, first of all, I did that because it was in Paris, in France, and second of all, when the bride was getting ready, like she had all those, kind of remnants of the breakfast. That morning. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna use that, and I shot it both on digitally and on film. But then I ended up liking the unsharp image of film that's a little bit even out of focus, and it kind of like it's more. I love subtlety in everything, from marketing to visuals to imagery. I love like half meanings, or like what you can read in between the lines. And this for me is like, it's not saying like, because digital image, because it was so like crisp and sharp, it said like, hey, there are 2 rings in a waffle. But this one is like as if it was a mistake,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I liked it for that, and it stood out to me. But yeah, you see, this kind of waffle just screams American to me. I don't know why.
Really?
I know it doesn't really make sense. Yeah, I do not know why. Probably because I see bacon and maple syrup on it. That's why I imagine.
The bread was American, so it could be, it could work that as well. That way.
Well, there you go. You go. Yeah. Next image, Gregory. When you're shooting film, what's your film camera? And we've not even talked about the gear you do use. What film stocks? Tell us on a technical level what you're shooting with.
Well, honestly, film camera is like just a simple point and shoot camera. It's the Yashica T3. I think, so for weddings, I highly advocate for everything point and shoot, simply because it's fast work. We have to do everything fast most of the time. So I wouldn't have time to adjust the manual camera, film camera, I don't have enough knowledge in this, but I'm getting another one now for more of a fashion shoots when the model waits and there is time. Otherwise, I love to experiment with the film itself. I rarely shoot just a regular film. It's mostly some cinematic stuff like CineStill or some other like weird bluish, greenish, whatever roles. Yeah, I feel like film for me is for playing, not for delivering. The kind of the, how do they call it, like the standard work. You know what I mean? It's more like experimenting.
Yeah. And are you going with the film as it's another tool in your camera bag, or are you saying to clients, hey, you can add on film for a price?
2 film rolls are included, but they always end up in adding more. Like I shoot now on average from 6 to 12 film rolls per wedding.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And are you okay with sending your things off to be developed?
Yeah, I developed them. And then
you develop them?
No, not me. The lab. Yeah, I send them to the lab.
Okay.
They develop, and then I retouch them whenever needed, or like change something up in them if needed, digitally, and then just send them in the gallery.
Cool. And what digital gear are you using? Since we're on the topic of camera equipment anyway.
Yeah. It's a mirrorless Nikon Z6 and 2470 for weddings.
24/7. Okay. I was intrigued there because the 28 seems to be very, very popular these days.
Did Nikon have a 2870 yet? Canon and Sony do, but
in terms of like old camera gear, you could definitely get a 28. for a Nikon.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it's on the same caliber as, I could be wrong. Like a 28 Nikkor lens. Message me if I'm wrong there, listeners. Anyway, this next image. The moment is this a cake cutting shot?
Yeah, but it's a workshop I was invited to.
Okay, it's a workshop, right? Okay, because my first thought was I don't think I've ever seen a cake cutting image this close.
Yeah.
During an actual event, and that actually stood out to me. It's in my head. This was almost like you were going for something rather than documenting the cake cutting element of the day. And it might be easy enough to jump between two cameras or two focal lengths and do the documentation and then get this very close up shot on a different lens quite quickly.
It's cropped,
but
though.
I do.
Like it's it was I think like till here and then I cropped it.
Okay. So would you, again, because it's a workshop then, it's hard to know roughly how far you'd be standing away from this person, but you are on the 24-70. What was your thought behind this, other than just this lovely emotion that's coming through on this model's face?
You know what? A lot of the, I feel like post-production is one of the super important creative processes for me, and a lot of my ideas as well on how to enhance the images and how to make them more visually appealing or emotionally appealing, I get during post-production. So when I was shooting this, I wasn't thinking about that I'm going to cut it up like this when I'm back at my computer. But then I saw this image, I was like, okay, this is a really cool emotion. And I want it close up, because if not, like it just loses itself in the photograph if it's a little bit further. So that's why you have like the half forehead cropped, which is not the usual crop anyone would do. And half of the face even cropped, on not face, like part of the face cropped. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love
It's
unusual
really nice.
crops as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
It feels like it could be an image from a magazine, like an ad in a magazine or something.
Yeah.
Like it's got that feel to it.
Thank you.
Obviously, for a wedding, moments like this happen, and they just happen, and you take them as you are. There's not much direction involved, usually, from my experience. But what's happening to get this kind of reaction? Are you saying something to the model, or is she laughing at anything particularly awkward?
No, she was doing it herself. Like she was just like having fun with it. Honestly, such close-ups are it's a gray area, because not everyone can do such close-ups very beautifully, like from the facial expression point. If I would do this, most probably I won't be able to look so good. So again, she's a model. And when we work with real people, we need to understand like what are where can we go, because there are some things that, let's say, photographer would post a very close-up image of a bride that's not polished, not like the skin doesn't look as good in a close-up, and then like, what's the point of this image? You know what I mean? Like it's gotta look aesthetically pleasing when we go towards the area of taking such close-up shots. I'm not saying everything has to be perfect, but it has to be aesthetically pleasing. So this is like one of the most important things to account for when we do such emotional close-ups.
Yeah.
If someone isn't as aesthetically pleasing, do they not get images like this?
No, it's not about not someone being aesthetically pleasing. You can take an aesthetically pleasing image and then work on it. Or you can take a certain angle that's absolutely not flattering, not to the image itself, not to the person. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
so like
now I do. So
a person in the same dress with the same body structure can be shot aesthetically beautiful and can be shot absolutely horrifying. So that's what I'm talking about. Like to kind of feel this when you photograph people, and then when you in the post production as well. So none of my shots, if you notice, none of my shots have a kind of fashion looking magazine skin that's like glossy and like super perfect. No, I love to leave the texture of the skin. Okay. I love them to look natural, but also if there are certain imperfections that I feel will kind of, how they call it, like, take away from the photo, I'm gonna, jump in and kind of work on them.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. What's your approach to doing that in post? Do you have a conversation to be like, hey, so you had a little mark on your face here? Is it like, do you ask permission to take things like that out, or do you just take kind of creative freedom? Like,
no. So if a person has a pimple, that's literally a temporary thing, and they just like were unlucky to have a pimple on their wedding day, I'm just gonna take the pimple out and just and that's it. But if I never modify anything, like I never modify people's bodies, and I never modify people's faces, like regarding like birthmarks or whatever. No, unless I'm specifically asked for this. No, never.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, like this is what I'm talking about. Like it's important to know and to understand from what angle the person looks flattering. So I would rather focus on this than modifying people and making them look like not themselves in post-prod.
Is there rules that you follow yourself to do that? Like, for example, I've heard photographers say, "Oh, you never shoot from below." Although
I shoot from below.
I think that's incredibly limiting. But are there anything like that, or do you need to be present with your focal length and the features in front of you to know kind of like, okay, the light's hitting here, so you react in a certain way to achieve. Yeah.
Depending on each person, on their physique, on their body structure, on their face, on what they told me before, what they don't like about themselves, if there is any, on the lights, on like all those little things.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Next image, Greg. Have I kept it to 3?
No, I think there's 5.
I was going to say, you have so many amazing images. I do sometimes struggle with keeping it to 3. So we'll go this one kind of quickly. I felt like there is a sense of humor here. And I'm not sure if that was intentional or what, but I am intrigued to hear that. And then, is this your hand, or is this the bride's hand, or the groom's hand?
No, this is a videographer's hand.
A videographer's hand. Okay. And what made you take this?
We were just playing with the details together, and then it was a minimalistic wedding, minimalist house. So I was focusing on doing minimalist imagery, and this was one of them. And I really, really love this photo, even after 4 years, I think it's now, or 3.
Okay. Yeah. Because I think I saw it a couple of times on your website actually, and I'm trying to think.
It's probably,
and you say you were playing with the details, like
before getting ready.
Yeah. So the ring sitting there, and then it just sort of so happened that you went, hold on, I could do this, or did you have a pre-idea?
No.
You're like, hold on, I'm going to put this here and try something.
No. It was just like, because as I said, like it was a minimalist house. The sun was hitting like it right up front. So there were a lot of shadows created. So we decided to play with the shadows.
Yeah.
In minimalist setting, I feel like playing with the shadows is just a must.
Yeah.
Plus,
I mean,
just wanted to say that the house had so many amazing textures. So you can see this texture is like, it's beautifully looking in the image as well.
Yeah. It looks like a cool floor.
Did you mean for humor to be a part of this image, or was it just purely the shapes and the colors and the tone?
And where do you find the humor?
Where do I find the humor? Probably, well, see, I could look at this and think of death or a missing person, or I could look at it and think, there's like an image with such a simple structure, you can not force a story on it, but you could definitely have an impression of a story depending on your mood. I think when I picked this, I was definitely thinking comedy, because there have been other photographers that we've spoken to recently, and they do pull on the comedy. And there was another shot like this where they had used their shadow with the details in a humorous way. So I think naturally when I picked this, I was like, oh, that's funny. They're playing around. They're playing with shapes and shadows. And that sense of play, I feel, came out
I think
here.
that's the difference. It's maybe not humor, it's the play and the playful element of it. Like as you said, you were playing with the details.
Yeah.
But see, that's the power of photography and art in general. Like everybody will have their own connections in their minds. I would say humorous, more like the waffle was more humorous than this. This is just like, at least the humor was not intended, but I really love that you have your own, connections to it.
Yeah. I think I think when art creates a conversation, I think that's when it is peak, like that's its peak purpose for me. Isn't always beauty or a statement. It's what you're seeing here in the conversation that art brings out.
Of course.
That's how I look at art anyway.
100%. That's why I'm saying like to me, the concept also behind the images is super important. And that's what I'm saying, that there are certain events, like high tier events, like let's say luxury and so on, that I feel I don't fit in because there is not a lot of concept in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. Yeah. You can understand that.
One of
so
my
this
favorites.
one.
Yeah.
I love this. Again, I asked about styled shoots, and is this a styled shoot? I'm assuming it is.
This is a real wedding that's in my
It's not
master class, and that I shot the documentary of how I shot this wedding, and I explain inside it why I used the silver paper, the reflective paper, and all of this. So this is going to be a secret.
No. I mean, this was so intriguing to me, that you can do so much with kind of so little. I think back to all the conversations I've had with other photographers who again struggle with style shoots, and I know this isn't a style shoot, but it could be. Yeah. And you can create something with very little material. And so it was just something to be aware of. And I really like that for this. I like how the light is bouncing around. It almost looks like it's swirling.
I think, there's been some post there to add the liquefy, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh, right enough. I'm seeing it now. See, I didn't see that previously. Was there any thought of at least the swirls? Like, what were you creating with the swirls?
Well, the intention was like the liquid silver, but also the entire wedding was so basically we call it siren wedding because she has this wet dress that has, the siren vibes and mermaid. The entire wedding was very like siren themed. So that was just like the continuation of my, like what I suggested, with the paper backdrop and then in the post-prod and so on.
Yes. Yeah. By the way, you can check this. It's on your blog, and I should have known it was a real wedding because I had just been looking at it when you were talking earlier. It's got the kind of blue Vogue cover.
Yeah.
I love that.
Shot on film, by the way, with my little point and shoot camera.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So people can obviously get the masterclass and find out exactly about this image, but like how long did it take you to set this up and create the image and then move on to the next thing?
Setting this up probably like 15 minutes. Okay. And then we had the shoot there for 10 minutes. It was really crunch time, the entire wedding, in the sense that like I had a lot to shoot. I was alone, and also just like going fast through the portraits and so on.
Yeah.
But it was very easy also to work with them because they're like, she's very creative herself. She's an emerging singer now in the US and she's a blogger. So yeah, so it was a joy to work with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. I love. I actually love this gallery, but in particular when they're down by the dock or those colors of the ocean and their skin. Oh, so lovely. So
yeah, it was also like 10 minutes shoot because the ceremony ended and it was basically the blue hour was almost gone. So we just went there real quick to shoot some portraits.
Yeah, lovely. Very nice images. So definitely go and check out that blog. Siren Inspired Wedding in Sicily for all those interested. Now this image I actually love because it reminded me of a kind of New York street photography kind of. You've just walked past and you've gone snap, and it's like it feels very much like a still life with people. So basically, I just want to hear your thoughts behind this image, the story behind it, and if you like it, what you do and don't like about it. Essentially, just conversate about this image.
No, that was part of my project. It's called The Nation of Two.
Okay.
And it was actually inspired by immigrant stories of people who had to flee from Russia and Ukraine because of the war. Right. And these particular two guys, they are actors, and they lived in Moscow before that, but he's from Ukraine and she's from Russia. They got married there. And then they had to leave everything behind, including their craft, theater craft, which is like, when you move to a different country as a actor, it's so like it's almost impossible to find work because while you don't know the language, you don't know anyone. But they keep working as actors and they organize their own little theater and they're doing the performances in Barcelona. And then basically this entire project was set in like the feeling of of being the nation of two, of leaving the world behind that you knew and creating a new world from scratch, and like the process of integrating into it and finding yourself again and again and reimagining yourself. And so this feeling of separation but also unity at the same time, and that separation leads to unity if the people do the work on themselves, and it's a bigger project. Like you probably will find it on my Instagram. There is like there were scenes when they were painting of abstract things. There were scenes like when I shot like some little even clips of like films when they're like close eyes and open eyes, like there's just close up on the eyes, and just like different very conceptual thing. And this was one of those scenes, let's say, in the project when they were just like sitting down and she's smoking, he's thinking about something, and they're together, like she's hugging him, but also it feels like they're thinking about like completely different things, like they're in their separate worlds.
Yeah, I just like the body language for me, and a classic black and white image. Oh.
Do you set yourself, like going into a new year, do you set yourself a target of doing a certain number of personal projects, or is it more just a case of if an idea comes to you and it's got enough sort of thought to it, you'll run with it? Or like, what's your thought behind your personal projects?
No, I don't have any like set number, but I do know that I'm like the personal projects helped me a lot and propel me a lot in a personal sense of artistry in general. And I need to be really like, I have a lot of drafts, a lot of ideas, a lot of like project thoughts and so on. So whenever like something emerges to the surface and I know that I found the right characters for my images, I found the right people I want to collaborate with, work with or whatnot, I usually kind of go for it right away. Not like leave it for the next month or 3 months or year and so on. Like I need to do it right now because then I won't be interested anymore. But some projects, like, this is for the most part, but some probably like the more global ones, they take some months to kind of brew and then for the vision to come together.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
I think that's
Beautiful images you've
I think
chosen.
that's it, yeah.
Love them.
Oh, thank you. Well, beautifully taken. Beautifully taken.
Oh, thank you.
Again, going through your gallery, there are so many that I'd love to talk about, but I just had to keep it sensible for the podcast.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything? Normally, we ask, like, do you have a book recommendation? So, do you have a book recommendation, or can open it up a bit more and say, like, do you have any like Instagram account or film to go and check out to try and inspire our listeners?
Yeah, I have the book recommendation. My God, I'm so bad with the names. So bad. Let me see. Was it camera? I need to check it out. So there was this, it's a photography book, okay? Like, since we are photography podcast,
Yep.
can you maybe write it down somewhere afterwards when I pass you the name? Like, do you
Yep.
have any? Yeah, I'm
Yeah, we can
gonna
put it in the show
pass you the
notes.
name. Yeah, I feel like it's, I've read it, I think like half a year ago, and it's about photography and like seeing things, and training yourself. And like it goes deeper into the philosophy in general of like taking photos and what's behind it, rather than just naturally like the act of taking photos or the mechanism of it. And it really influenced me in a lot of ways. And I'm gonna send you the name. And then regarding the Instagram accounts and so on, worth mentioning, I barely follow any wedding blogs accounts or wedding big pages, simply because at some point I realized that the only thing when I open Instagram I see is weddings, and I needed to kind of abstract from that. So that's just my way of keeping it sane to myself, like being also consuming different type of content. Super important advice maybe would be to curate who you follow, and to curate what you spend your time on, whether it's what kind of movies you watch, what kind of books you read, what kind of places you visit, what kind of people you spend time on with. So like all of this kind of spheres in life, to put a little bit more consciousness in curation,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us on the last of our Thrive episodes. It's been
Nice.
an amazing chat, just as we knew it would be.
Didn't disappoint, I hope.
No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Where can people find you online?
Well, it's OGinger on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it.
And if they wanted to buy a belt, remind them of the website.
It's on Common Sense. It's called Uncommon Sense. It's on my Instagram bio as well. Are you guys going to be on Thrive? In Thrive, in Brighton?
Unfortunately not.
We've got a booking, so we're not going to make it down. But yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was hoping to see you in person.
I know us too, but maybe next time. Maybe next time,
yeah.
Are you, just out of curiosity, are there going to be any belts for people to look at Thrive?
I don't know. There might be or might be not. I don't know.
Okay.
We haven't discussed this yet. I don't think I'm going to be bringing any belts for sale. That's for sure. Maybe I'll bring just a couple examples for people to try on if they want. This could be a nice, way of kind of putting your hand on it and seeing what it does.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen them in the field. Yep. They are great.
They do look good.
They look great. They work great.
You.
So congratulations on creating.
Thank you for your support. Thank you for also for doing such a great job on questions and digging in. I love it. Love the conversation.
Oh, great. I am glad you said that, because again, with the last podcast, I have been getting no sleep whatsoever. It's the summer holidays. The kids are up super late and I'm up super early. I'm up extremely early, and I feel like my brain's not quite here yet. So yeah, it's been weird having
Coffee helps.
Coffee helps. It's been weird having all these conversations when I feel like I am half a person in my brain, and I'm not quick on the best of days anyway.
But it was great anyways. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Greg, are you ready for... Well, you're not ready for Thrive, are you? Because you're not going, you bad boy.
If I had a ticket, I would be.
I know. Let's not tell people about your faux pas with double booking, shall we not?
For the next podcast.
Yes. The next podcast, I'll indulge our listeners in Greg's faux pas in our double bookings. And it's all his fault. It's great. Anyway, listeners, are you ready to thrive? You should get ready for your 2-day all-star wedding photography conference taught by 6 phenomenal speakers. At this point, you've heard every single one of them talk about themselves, and it has been really great. And if you haven't listened to all of them, definitely go and have a listen, because they have some great tips and pointers and perspectives. Yep. Oh, great podcast, that perspective. Great podcast. Anyway, Thrive is happening on the 22nd and 23rd of October at the Leonardo Royal Hotel in Brighton. The best industry sponsors. Small group sessions with the speakers, beautiful portfolio content, yummy lunch and snacks. Brighton is, of course, a cool city with cool vibes. You do get your goodie bag. Goodie bags are good, and they take a long time to put out. I know, because I've had the privilege of helping people put them out. So enjoy them, and you get to hang out with your industry peers. Bloody hell, Greg, did I mention the snacks?
You did.
I did. Lisa told me to tell you guys and gals and non-binary pals to buy your tickets to Thrive. You'll have a bloody blast. So you will. Anyway, thank you to With Jack and Pick Time for sponsoring another episode of this podcast. And if you have liked this conversation, please do hit subscribe on our YouTube or wherever you get podcasts. And we'll see you in the next one. However,
in the meantime,
enjoy your Thrive.